Hello. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'm Teresa with Keep in Touch Crafts out of Oak Grove, Minnesota. I am just going to verify that this is on live. I'm going to check my computer over here, so one moment. Okay. Hoping it's going. It's not really showing me anything yet, so hopefully this is live and on Facebook and YouTube and wherever you're joining me from. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kick back and take a few minutes to be able to just kind of chill a little bit and maybe do some fun crafting and learn some new things, hopefully. Something that'll inspire you to make a new project. My graphics, as I had last week, I forgot to do this. My graphics are gone again still. So the normal screen that I have that says we're going to be starting soon and all that good stuff that my husband made for me aren't on there anymore. So I'll have to reload them in. So I apologize for that. Finger reveal beginning is kind of what I had done. So we are starting out and having a celebration, as I mentioned last week. So there's a lot of great deals going on. It is a great time to join as a discount shopper or get some good deals and some free products. So feel free to head on over to my Keep in Touch Crafts is the name of it. keepintouchcrafts.com is my blog. And you can also go to Stampin' Up! And I am a demonstrator there, and find my name there, and you'll be able to go to my store with Stampin' Up! And we can get you some good deals to be had. So feel free to do that. If you have any questions, of course, message me, let me know. I'd be happy to help you. Today we are going to attempt a fun fold, and what made me really want to try this is that right now is a good time we're all kind of wanting to keep those New Year's resolutions going, or maybe some new goals that you have, or even sometimes it's just a mindset where you have a word. I know some people who choose a word for each year to kind of focus on. And so I thought this would be it'd be nice to have something displayed, or it's also nice for if you want to kind of support somebody. Let's say you want to kind of be their cheerleader and say, you got this, you can do it, or whatever. It's something that they can display on their desk, excuse me, on their desktop. And so we're going to make that today, and it looks like just a basic card. Oh, brother. I bet now I'm live, right? Welcome to technology. I'm going to start over. I have a feeling that it wasn't on this whole time. And so I am going to have to edit that out. So if you're watching live and you saw that, I apologize. Gosh. It's a day. So technical difficulties are now out of the way. So everything's going to go fine from here on out. Welcome. And again, I'm Teresa with Keep in Touch Crafts out of Oak Grove, Minnesota. And I'm going to do a fun fold card with you tonight. Perfect display card that you can use to keep those New Year's resolutions in your mind, or to be a cheerleader for somebody and say, you got this. You can kind of make a card that you send in the mail, but then it can also display as well. And it kind of has this little box. And I'll just show you when the time comes here. We'll make it together. And it's really not, doesn't take anything unusual really. So just gather some colored cardstock and some coordinating pattern paper that goes with it. Maybe a favorite saying that you want on your display. Like maybe you want to say, you've got this, or whatever. Thinking of you, I don't know. The one I'm going to use is, well, I'll show you in a minute. The one I'm going to use is Faith Over Fear. So that's a good one, I thought, too. Whatever is something that's speaking to you that you wanted to kind of keep front and center, whether it's for yourself or another person, that'll be the good sentiment to use for that. You might want a couple of stamps that are kind of an image that you can color, cut out, die cut, that kind of thing. So we're going to work on all of that together. And again, this was called, I always forget the name, a box stand fun fold. I had gotten my inspiration from another demonstrator in the group that I'm with. And I do not know who it was because the tag fell off. So if there is any other of my sister demonstrators out there that know who made this card, I want to give them kudos for that and a heads up, and just I just want people to know where I got the idea, because it was a beautiful swap card that we had done a while back, and it was really pretty, and I'll show that to you very soon. So gather your supplies. I'm going to grab a bunch of my supplies, and I'll get the camera down on the desktop and we'll begin. Okay, one moment here. All right, there we are, grabbing everything. I feel like I should check Facebook again and see. Come on. I want that to be live. Oh, there. Yay, it's live. Probably all of my mistakes in the beginning were live and lovely as well. Hopefully I can cut that out, because those were not good. At the very beginning, I was just chatting away and the image didn't start in anyways. Okay, we'll forget about that. Here we are with some of our supplies. So I'm going to use just our Memento black ink. I'm going to use Night of Navy ink. And I'm going to use this beautiful ribbon. It's from By the Bay Suite. That's in our new catalog. That just went live here recently. So we're going to use that. And you use what you have, of course, like I always say. I'm going to show you, just in case you're wondering where any of these products are from, we have the celebration going on right now, and a lot of beautiful products in here. If anyone is interested, they have this really cool, it's called Boho Blue, and it's a little kind of a desktop size of our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's a mini, and that is available if you, as one of the choices with some of our different joining options that are going on right now. So if you want to know more about that, let me know. It is cute. Hi, Aunt Cindy. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this goes okay, because it started out really rocky. But we're going to forget about that. So for today, in our new mini catalog, I will be using, on page 9, are some, what are these called? This is the bling here, and they are the pastel adhesive X sequins. I'll be using those on our project. And I'm going to be using this beautiful By the Bay. It's that's the name of the suite, but I'm going to be just using the paper from that and the ribbon. That is page 23. And then I am also going to use, let's see here what we got. Where are you? Oh, I'm going to also use the framed florets stamp set, and that's going to be the focal point, or the decorative part of this tonight. And so I'm going to be coloring those. So that's where that's from. And I'm also going to be using this sentiment piece is Faith Over Fear, and that comes from the Charming Sentiment stamp set in our annual catalog, page 38. But whatever you have that you want to kind of be the focal point, or the whole I don't know, background, or what you want to say on your card today, grab a stamp that shows that. And so that was this stamp set. These are the little bling things that we're going to be using. They're those sequins that are just real a low profile on those, but they do have adhesive on them already, so they're nice and quick and easy. I am going to use some of the framed florets die set, and probably I'm just going to mainly be using these for the cutting out our images of some of the flowers that we're going to be die cutting out. And I do have a little tip for die cutting too that I learned recently. So that's what this is for. I'm going to show you that in a moment. Then we're also going to use tailor-made tags. You can use whatever tags you want. I am going to use the largest of this style. And then this one has an oval opening or hole in the top, so I do want to make a little decorative piece using this. They make the little kind of a oh, what is it, where they kind of strengthen a hole fastener piece. I don't know. It goes over the hole and it makes it kind of decorative and strengthens that hole so it doesn't rip out as easily. Whatever that's called. So we're going to make those. We're going to use those 2 pieces. And let's see here. I think that's about it. And this paper pack is like so gorgeous. Like, I have a hard time finding or deciding what I'm going to use for these, because this is like my color palette of colors I just love. And so it's kind of hard, like, you know, if you use this side, I love this pattern, but then I hate to give up this beautiful scallop pattern on the other side. So that's one of those paper sets that are just so pretty that you can't decide what to use. So for today, I'm just going to use the piece that is very kind of oceany colors. Let's see where it is in here. Isn't this cool too? It's kind of got that wave look to it. It's just real subtle though. And of course it's blue, which is my favorite. This one I like too. That's cool. I think I'm using the back of this. These are kind of like mussels or scallops or something. Clams maybe. And on this side it's just got some muted tones. I'm going to be using some very similar to that. So whatever you decide or prefer is going to be just fine for this. I'll give you the dimensions in a moment. So you're going to want white cardstock and then 2 colors that coordinate. You could use 1 if you'd rather 2. So let's pull in what we need for paper. So we're going to start with, you're going to cut a piece of designer series paper. You're going to take an 8.5 by 11 piece, cut it down the middle. And it's going to be 4 1/4 by 11. And it's got a bunch of scoring on it. And my piece has a bunch of lovely pencil mark on it that I'm going to take off. We don't want that. So I already cut and scored this one. So you can cut your 8.5 by 11 piece in half the long way. And then you're going to score at 1 inch, 2 3/4, 3 1/4, and 5 1/2. And that gets you into the center. And then you're going to turn it and do that again. So I will get my trimmer so you can see what I mean. Okay, where are you? Okay, so this is a piece, as I was saying, it's cut in half, and you're scoring at the first score that you do. Oh, get all my stuff out of the way here. There we are. All right, let's score at 1 inch with our scoring blade or a scoring board. Either way, you've got 1 inch, 2 3/4, 3 3/4. Okay, 3 3/4 and 5 1/2. All right, then you are going to turn that around and repeat. So again, you'll do 1, score, then 2 3/4, 3 3/4, and 5 1/2. Okay. So there's your piece. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 score lines on it. And that is our first color we're going to be using. And again, this is called a box stand fun fold. Then you're going to need a piece of your secondary colored cardstock. And this one is 2 1/2 by 5 1/4. Okay, like so. Just a rectangle, just plain like that. We'll be decorating and trimming it a little bit. And then you're going to need some white pieces. All right, got to find mine here. So you're going to have two of them that we're going to be die cutting these and stamping on these, but you need two basic white pieces that are each 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then you're going to need some designer series paper. And you're just going to need one piece, and I'll show you how you cut that down. So I'm going to grab a piece let's do this one. So what you're going to do to cut down your designer series paper, we're going to use 3 different pieces of it. And so we're going to cut it first into one piece, and then we'll trim it from there, if that makes any sense. If not, you'll see. Right? Okay, so let's get this in the trimmer here, and then what you're going to do is cut this at, where is it here? 3 7/8 by 4 1/16. So you want it to be longer, and then like so, a rectangle. We want the length of this to be 4 1/16, and we want the depth or the height or whatever to be 3 7/8. So I'm going to cut, is that right? Yeah, 3 7/8 first. I'm turning it so the pattern is going this direction. 3 7/8 is just a little under 4. So there's 3 7/8. And this was a piece of 6 by 6 that I started with. All right, and then the length is 4, where was that? 4 1/16. So it's basically 4 inches, and then go to that very next little teeny line on that ruler. Just a hair over 4, basically. And we'll cut that. Now, this piece then is that, what I had said earlier, 3 7/8 by 4 1/16. And we are going to trim this into 3 pieces. So we want the 4 1/16 to stay, they're all the same length. So turn it so that you have the 3 7/8 side up in the trimmer here, and we're going to cut off 2 pieces that are each 1 1/2 inches. So we have 1 1/2. There's one of them, and then we're going to do another one, 1 1/2. And then this last one is already the right size, which is going to be 7/8 of an inch. So 7/8 by 4 1/16. And then you have 2 of them that are 1 1/2 by 4 1/16. So those are the 3 designer series paper that you need for this. Then you're going to need some basic white, and these are kind of just scraps depending on what you're going to do. So I just stamped a bunch of the images that I might want to use, and then I'm going to be die cutting these out after. You can either die cut them first and color first, die cut second, or vice versa, whichever way you want to do it. So these are not your main sentiment, because we're going to be putting those on these white pieces, the main kind of focal point. But these are going to be the decorative pieces. Okay, so let's go ahead and I think the next part will be, maybe let's do some coloring. All right, so whatever you want for your images, you can stamp those. And I know for sure I want to use this kind of a swag piece. And so I want to get that colored. And then I just want to have a couple of other decorative pieces ready to go. And let's maybe, I think that's about all I'm going to need right there. These should be fine. And then whatever colors are in the paper, you're going to want to use your blends, your watercolor pencils, whatever. If you have the Stampin' Write markers, those might work. I know I just always use blends, so you know me, I'm constantly using the blends. And I did kind of like this color combination. I had kind of tried that ahead of time just to see. I felt like that, of course, went really well with our paper. So whatever color scheme you want, you can do that. You know, I'm not a real patient colorer, but I like to color. I don't mind it at all. But I do want to kind of just go and do some coloring with you in case it's something that you're not familiar with. You'll be able to work on that. So I have the balmy blue, and that is in the paper. That is part of our designer series paper. It's one of the colors. I know I'm going to want those, and the blends come in a light and a dark, and each one has a fine tip edged end and a wider tip end. Okay, so we can use a light and a dark of that color. You could use the navy would go well, but I feel like that might be a little dark for the paper I chose. And we also have our the pool party is another color that would match. So let's see, this is the light and the dark of pool party, I believe. Yep. And then we're gonna use, do I have mint macaron? Yeah, dark mint macaron, which in light mint macaron, which is our main color of our designer series paper, or our cardstock. So this cardstock is that mint macaron, so I know that'll match well. And we can just kind of use this palette to color with. So I could just make the greenery the mint macaron color, and that kind of pulls that color in. I don't like all this shadow. And so I usually personally I start with the light, depending on what I'm doing. But if you want to start coloring, I'm just going to do just a little bit of this light in there, and I'm hardly putting it in. I'm not even going to the edge. Let's see, maybe I should go in just a little bit more here so you can get a little better idea what I'm doing. So I just put the light down, just a very little bit of it. Then I'm taking my dark, and wherever I kind of want it to be darker, I'm just going to put a little bit of the darker down. And I'm just kind of going on that center vein there, and I'll kind of go on the center of this piece as well. And then this one is the light. I go back to that one again and just kind of blend out these edges where the light and the dark meet, and that really helps to keep your shadows in there and light and dark, because if you overdo it, it'll kind of all blend together, which is the point, and it does go through, but that's okay. We know that it's blending that way, and you can expect that, but we're going to die cut this, and we'll glue it on and everything too, so that won't be shown. And so let's just go with the dark on this. And I have the fine tip end. Oh, I don't like all that shadow. So let's just kind of put a little color down in the very center, and then we will go ahead and pull a little bit of it out closer to the edges with the light. Okay, it's super easy. Doesn't take a lot of time. Of course, when you're doing this on your own, you can take a little more time than I'm doing. And so here's the light. And we're gonna, well, it'd be helpful if you could see it. Just kind of blend that out a little bit. Keep trying to keep the actual light here on the edges. And if you see like a line, then that's what the light one will do, help kind of get rid of the line, so it's more of a gradual change in color. And I just want it darker in the center and lighter as you go out a little bit here. Okay, so that's just a basic coloring job of nothing fancy here. Mint macaron on there and on here as well. We'll be die cutting those out. I do want to, while I'm doing the greenery, I might as well do this one as well. And I'm going to put, wherever there's the same greenery here, I'm going to use the same color. But I think I'm going to start with the dark on there. It's kind of a small image, so you don't need much. If you get too close to the edge and you put too much of the ink down, it might bleed out of your image area, and we'd rather keep it in the lines, you know, even though some people intentionally go outside of the lines, and then it still looks cool because you can just say I meant to do that, right? Okay, so wherever there's greenery, I'm just putting a titch of color down. You could use a different greenery color here if you want, but I'm just keeping it simple in these, in that same color palette. Just it'll all blend really nicely together. And I could choose one of these to be darker and put more down maybe. And one could be lighter. You could vary it that way. So I don't know if you can tell, but I don't have it colored in well. I just mainly have a little bit of color, in that area where I want the green to be. And then I'll kind of finish it off with the lighter. So go to each of those areas, just kind of add a little more color. And we'll get that color to kind of move out just a little and have less harsh lines. And again, try not to put too much ink down so that it bleeds out too far. Okay, this is what's kind of nice when you're just hanging out in your craft room or wherever and just coloring with your colors. It's kind of relaxing. And you just know it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It just kind of get the idea across here, a little color. And we're almost done with this. Okay, so our green pretty much done. And then now we can be thinking of our actual flowers. And I think I'm going to kind of keep it at Pool Party and Balmy Blue, which is light blue and kind of this more of the aqua-ish color, because that's what's in our paper. I think I use similar. I think these might be two different papers actually, but they're very similar. So whichever one you're using or whatever you have, you're going to want to match your inks to your project. So I think what I'm going to do is, let's take a look. So in the spray here, I am going to color these outer flowers, the outer two flowers. I'm just going to use the, is this light? The light Pool Party. And oops, I don't want that end. I want my thinner end. And we'll just give these just a little color. And then if you do want a little bit more color variation in that one, you can put a little bit of the darker just kind of in this center portion there. You can see that it kind of just bleeds out a little bit. Can you see that? Right here is kind of what I did, just a little bit in the center. And you can do that over here too. I think I can do it this way with it up. Nope. I tried. Just a little color in the center. And if you think it's too much of a line, again, this is your same light color again, is just the perfect way to blend out any harsh lines. And it just kind of makes it gradually get to that lighter color then. It makes it super easy for blending colors. Okay, just a little color variation, nothing fancy. Now I'm gonna kind of, maybe I'll make these three more of the blue, but to keep it tied together, I'm gonna take the Pool Party Dark. Whoops. And I'm gonna put it just in the center here. And I don't know, kind of in the center of this one that's kind of leaning forward a little bit. And then I'm going to take the blue and I'm going to put just a little bit of the dark balmy blue just towards the center. Just go out a third or almost a half into the petal area. And then we kind of take our time and blend it out here with the light. And it's okay if you want to leave the ends with just a little bit of white too. Sometimes the flowers can have all of those different colors. And there we go. Again, if you have a line, just kind of color on that line to make it blend out more. Okay, there we are. Nothing fancy there, but good enough. And I did want to do these as well, to kind of in the same way. And let's go, I think we had pool party in the center. Just gonna go like that. Then I'm gonna put the dark balmy blue next. Kind of out a little further. It looks bad, doesn't it? But it won't stay that way. No worries. Light balmy blue. Oh, did I use that already? Oh, I have two darks. Well, that doesn't help. So I had two. Yeah, I didn't bring my light balmy blue. Let me grab that. Sheesh. You know, I don't know where I put it. Oh well, let's just keep going. This says dark, but I don't know what I did. If I misplaced my light somewhere, that'd be bad, because it's one of my favorites. Okay, and I want to have like a little bit extra on those little flaps that kind of are on the end of the petal. Okay. We just kind of give it a little time. As it dries, it lightens as well. So you can just do, like, if you feel it's almost like a sloppy job sometimes, but it just corrects itself a lot of times and really makes it easy to do. So I am coming in just with a little bit of this. What color is this one now? Light Bermuda Bay. And that just is going to bring in more of that kind of aqua-ish color. Just bring a little bit more of that. And I am going to repeat a little bit of that here. Just on those little bit of a darker line here. The stamps a lot of times tell you, you know, where it needs to be darker and where, you know, the shading is, that kind of thing. Kind of just follow those and you'll be just fine. All right, good enough for now. And those are our images we'll be die cutting. I'm going to get rid of these items here and put them to the side. And now we're going to need to do some die cutting. Yes, so let's do that. I'm going to grab my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. I don't know how this will work. Hopefully it'll work okay. I need to back out a little bit. And boy, it's kind of blown out. All right, so these come with the plates, and basically a die cutter just kind of presses your image out with a metal die. So let's go ahead and find the ones that we want to use. I'm grabbing my dies here. So let's look. We're going to look for the one that is going to cut out. This is going to be this. I can't even grab it. Come on, die. All right, that's that one. You could just do these as well. If you would want to, you could take your mint macaron paper or whatever and just die cut these out, and then you don't need to stamp. You can do it, you know, whatever way you want. I believe this is the smaller flower. Oh, great. Where's my bigger one? Oh, no. I don't know where I put it. Maybe it fell off and I had it in my pile here. Okay, we'll fussy cut a little bit too. I'll show you what that is. Then we're going to need this one for this spray of greenery, like that. And this one is going to die cut this. But one thing I wanted to do is show you a little trick that I learned. recently, and it's kind of a nice way if you're concerned. I don't know, if you haven't die cut before, it might not be familiar to you, like how this all works. But what you can do is, if you have an image that you want to die cut, and if you're afraid you're going to have trouble lining it up, like a lot of times we'll put it on here, and sometimes if you're not sure, you might not always get it right where you want it. It might be down a little bit more than you want it, or up, or some are easier than others. So one trick is, if you have something that you're concerned about getting lined up, what you can do is make kind of like a jig. That's what, I don't know what else I'd call it, but where you take and die cut the image out of just a basic plain piece of cardstock, and then you're going to place that over your image. You're going to get it exactly where you want it, and I'll do that without this here. You're going to get exactly where you want it, and then you're going to be able to set it in. It just kind of like, it'll show it right where to go, and then you'll leave it there, and then you'll die cut. So let's do that. I'm going to get, you can use like a post-it note, post-it tape, sticky note type of an adhesive. Let's get that. I think this might be one that has a lot of the sticky on it, which is what we want. And I need to cut this with my scissors. Okay. So to do that technique, like I was showing you, that little trick, we're going to kind of keep our eye on this image, and you're going to be able to see right where it's going to cut out. So let's get that centered really perfectly in there, right exactly where we want it. And then we are going to just kind of tape it down into place. And I don't know if you can see that very well. We don't want anything to move, but I'll show you a little bit closer. So I don't know if you can see, I have that right in place, and it's right over our image. This is where I would want it to die cut it. So then you can put that down, and then you take your die and set it on there, and it'll just go right into place. And then we'll put our other plate on top like we normally do. And then we know that when we die cut, it's going to be right where we want it. Isn't that cool? I love that tip that I had seen somebody do recently. So we have that in place, and we're going to run this through. It's just cranking through here. And let's take a look. How did it go? So I'm bringing this apart here, and it should have die cut right where we want it to. Pretty good. It isn't perfect though. I might have not have had it in the right spot. Okay, well, we'll keep working on that one, right? Okay, so that is one die cut that we have done for what we're making. Then we want to do our other die cuts, which one of them is going to be these. We're going to fussy cut that one, which means just cut it out on our own. I'm going to try this without any special, things to help us get it in place. You just kind of turn it until you can tell right how it should be. And I think they purposely make the images so they're not, exactly. You can tell where they're supposed to be, which direction the die is supposed to be on there. I'm just searching for a post-it note here. I found a used one. Hoping this one will stay in place. Okay. Be nice if you could see it. You could tell, like when you're working on this, if you had a magnetic plate, you could put that down. That's super helpful. I need more than that for my post-it tape. All right. So I'm going to cut a smaller piece. I don't want a big, huge one. I want to get this into place, and I want it to stay there. I don't want it moving on me. So let's get that in place, and we'll put this tape down on it. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with this one. Turn it. Get it really nicely centered here. Right on it. Okay. I want to move that a little bit. Make sure it stayed where I wanted it. Don't think it did. Can you see how magnetic plates are? Oh, they're so nice. Okay, one more. I hope you're having a good week, everybody, and that you're, I don't know, you're getting some time in to just do some things that you enjoy and relax. And like a lot of us who are watching this, it might be to do some crafting, try a new thing. Even if you haven't done a lot of this, of course, you're not going to have all this equipment. Check out our kits. We have some all-inclusive kits, and they're a great way to learn. You know, some of those basics, and you can get your confidence up because they're very doable. You do not have to be artistic and a perfectionist and experienced to make some really nice cards or other projects. We have more than just cards too. So check out our beautiful selection. Oh my, sheesh, crashing. Our selection of kits if you're not an experienced stamper. If you are, then you're probably like me where you're like, bring on some fun things that you want to try that you haven't done before, or maybe you have some skills that you're trying to get a little better at. Like for me, coloring, I'm not perfect at that. I have a long ways to go because I'm too impatient, but the blends help me to be somewhat successful. So that's nice. All right, there is a couple of our die cuts. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Yeah, I just heard that recently, that tip about the die cutting. Because sometimes you really don't want to have to redo it, and this is one way to have a little bit better success, maybe, sometimes, or if you're having trouble with one. All right, so now with this one, I don't know where my die went, so I'm going to fussy cut this. And I'm going to grab my scissors. They're hiding. Oh, I have one more thing to die cut too. We got to do these yet. Can't forget to do that. But first, let's go ahead and do that cutting like I was talking about before. Don't want to lose those dies. And let's just kind of get this roughly cut out. Fussy cutting is what we call it as a lot of you know, in the stamping world. We fussy cut when we have to cut something out and we don't have a die. Some people love fussy cutting and some people don't. I'm not too thrilled with it, but I do it sometimes. It's cheaper than dies, right? So one thing to keep in mind is you're kind of driving your piece of paper through like this, and keep your scissors pretty still. So you're not moving your scissors a lot. You're just moving your actual image, and that helps it to be a little smoother sometimes. So that is a tip that some of the pros have said, which is not me, but that's kind of some of the tips I've heard. And just taking your time and just trying to get an even amount all the way around. And then sometimes people wouldn't even know it was cut out. They'll think that it was die cut. Probably not one of my cards, but that's okay. All right. Nice even border around this flower. And almost done. All right. There we have our images done there. Next, we're going to die cut out our lovely white tags that are going to go on our project. You could also use pattern paper for that if you want. And I have two pieces. These are our pieces that were each 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. And if you have different cutouts or tags that you're using, you can vary this. I do want to show you, I did make one with a different die cut, and it wasn't as long. And when I ended up doing all of that, it ended up not working out because it wasn't tall enough. So I'll show you that when we're a little further on. My point is, make sure that your centerpiece that's going to be popping up is at least, I think this one is 5 1/4. So you don't want, whatever you decorate this panel with, you just don't want it to be too short. I'll show you why in a later time here. So let's die cut this with our Stamp Cut and Emboss machine. And I think I can do both at once. Oh, it's kind of heavy. Kind of like the desktop one. I should have had that one ready. Those are kind of handy to have. And I believe, yeah, it would work. We have the smaller one, the mini, as I was talking about before. And the mini can fit on kind of like on your work surface a little bit easier. Than it's not as big and as heavy. But of course it's not a must-have, but just kind of nice. Or if somebody wants to get into die cutting, they don't want to buy the full one. Oh, I don't like my shadows, you guys. Ugh. My lighting is terrible. I gotta work on that. Just don't like shadows across there. All right, I digress. So yeah, if you want to start out die cutting and you don't want to get, spend the money on one that's the full size, you can get a cheaper one and kind of get started that way too. So our paper pumpkin this month, which is that subscription kit, the paper pumpkin is going to have an accessory that you can add on, which is a couple of dies, which they're little dies that are going to cut out some cute little characters, and which is going to be something different that they haven't done before. There are 2 tags, and I still haven't shown you what we're making, so I kind of like to wait, but you're probably wondering what is going on. The next thing we're going to die cut is just those little ovals that I showed you that are part of the tag. That's the little piece that's going to go over the hole, and we can do that in like a contrast if you want. That's another way of getting some, another color put back. So we have, we could use either the mint macaron or the balmy blue. Let's see what I can find here. Or you could use your pattern paper. Let's do that. I believe, I just want to make sure I'm not grabbing something that I'm supposed to use. That's not, okay. I think this is a scrap. All right, this one is a scrap. I'm just going to use the very end, and it's going to do 3 at once, so it'll be I just need 2, but that'll work. You could do white, you could do whatever. Ooh, there's some of my goodies. All right, let's die cut those little tab pieces out. And that'll be it, I believe, for the die cutting. And you can see them already. So it's that kind of a shape. And it's got that same hole as the tag does. So those are easy to lose. I'm going to put them somewhere where I won't lose them. Okay, there we are. Let's put all of this aside now. And now the fun. Okay, so we're going to start putting it together a little bit here. What I want to do next is stamp my main saying or whatever that I want on my card. I want the saying on here, and so I only need to do one of them. I'm going to show you. I'll kind of give you this is kind of like what we're making. This was my inspiration piece. That was was from a swap that I did in my group with Rachel Tessman's group, and this is how it comes. And then you just kind of squish it down like this. And then that can just sit right on your desktop or your whatever. And I love this one. Faith is about trusting. Isn't that beautiful? I wish I knew who made it. She did a wonderful job. And when I find out, I'll post that. But this was my inspiration piece. You can see it's just gorgeous. She used a tone-on-tone with an embossing folder here. I believe that's our, like the, oh, I don't remember the name of it, but it's like a pine tree type one. And she used that here too, along with the ribbon. And this was the darker green, the evening evergreen here. And that's where this was on there as well. Now I've changed mine up a little bit, but that's kind of what we do. We change it to be kind of our own a little bit, but that is just beautiful the way it is. Even when you don't understand, that was stamped right here. So as long as you make this tall enough, and keep in mind, whoops, that when it's folded up, this will still fit in your 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch envelope. Okay. All right, so let's make our version here. I'm going to put that main saying on here that I wanted, and I'm choosing faith over fear. And that's, for me, and for everybody, right? A lot of us, it's easy to be fearful sometimes, but, you know, God doesn't want us to be fearful. We're supposed to trust in Him, right? And so this is a great reminder. Having this on our desktop or our work area can help us remember what's truly important. Boy, am I lecturing tonight, huh? But I really believe that myself. So anyways, we have that. Ooh, it turned out lovely. I used the Night of Navy, which is a dark blue. And I will clean that later. And let's see, next thing we're going to do is on the back of our pop-up portion, I have one on the front, one on the back. The one on the back is where you could write a note to someone. You know, you could put another thing on there if you'd want. But this is what I will just kind of leave that one just blank, because I want that to be an area that you can write to your recipient on. That's the idea of it anyways. And so we're going to put this an even amount from the top and the two sides. And I'm going to be adhering that down on there. And then I am going to trim this a little bit to make it the same shape. Oh, I just got a visitor. Jason the cat just came in. Jason, what are you doing in here? He pushed the door open. Little stinker. Okay. You can use whatever you prefer. For adhesive, I'm just going to do the quick stuff here tonight and use my Stamp and Seal. But you can always use your favorite strong adhesive. And the Tombow green glue, the multi-purpose glue, works very well too. Depending on what you have and what you're running out of is what I end up doing. What am I not running out of? All right. This will go, like I said, equal distance, because I'm going to trim those top corners to match. And we're going to get this as straight as we can. And adhere that down. Hi, Jason. You don't be naughty. He's like wanting me to hold him. He is my son's cat, and my son is having me watch him for a while. Okay. So this is our center tag portion. Now we could have used something, I think that actual die thing, this piece. We could have put that on here and that would have cut a hole in there. But I am just going to use a little hole punch and just kind of make it so that it's roughly the same shape. And then I'm going to be covering it up with that little piece that we cut out. So what I'm going to do is kind of punch out this little section here. This is a 1/8, maybe 1/16 of an inch. So you can see how that's just kind of punched out now, that hole there. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it'll be covered up by that little piece, which is right here. It will go on there. I'm going to adhere this on like so. Okay. Into place. I should just do this while it's here. And then I'm going to use the Tombow, the liquid adhesive, but I'm going to use this little bottle that I have that is just kind of a nice, real fine point for those smaller details. And so I'm going to get this going here, and hopefully I won't get glue all over the place. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty small, but I am just putting a little bit on there. And we are going to adhere this down then, right over the hole. There we go. All right. And that just kind of adds just a little bit of decoration there. Now on the back, I'm going to put, oh, seriously. Naughty Jason, you can't craft with me right now. I'm going to have to maybe take him out again and shut the door. So sorry, guys. Jason. Okay. Now this is the one on the back that is going to be a place for people to, where you can write your sentiment if you want. You could make it a two-sided tag as well. So like some days you might want to look at this side and some days you might want to look at that side. So whatever you prefer there. And I can do another one of those little hole covers with our adhesive. All right. What's the best way to do it? Okay. And trying to get that on there. And we're getting, gosh, it's almost an hour already. I gotta hurry, right, guys? You don't want to be here all day. All right, so there is that little tag covering up our hole. And the multi-purpose glue makes it so we can kind of scoot it into place. And I'm just going to probably leave the back. You could put a little flower or something on there. We'll see it as we decorate. We can also take a piece of ribbon, and we're going to, you could put this on a couple of different places, but one place I do know is I want to put it in here. And to do that, you really don't need that much to do it in the way I'll show you here. It depends what your preference is. Get my, these are the ones I use for ribbon, as I tell you probably every week. And they're nice and sharp. Okay. Then I just fold it in half and push it through either side. And we will loop that in there, help it along a little. Okay. And now I'm going to just pull those ends in the loop here. It's not usually this hard. I think the wider the ribbon, it can be a little bit harder just to get that little loop area opened up. So take these two ends and pull them right through that little loop. Kind of pull them upright, kind of scooch it a little bit and get it to move. There we go. There we are. And if you need to trim your ends a little, you can do that. I think I might just kind of get them more even. Now some people even purposely shred that a little bit. I haven't done that yet, but that's another idea. Okay, all right, so this is going to be our focal point, and let's adhere our goodies together. All right, so here's your base piece, and we do want to go ahead and score on all those score lines. There were a lot of them. And they all go the same direction, so that makes it easy. And this will just help it to really keep nice, crisp folds and keep its shape well. Okay, there we go. And one more. And you can go ahead and apply your designer series paper pieces now or afterwards, depending on what you prefer. You could do either one. That's where these two are going to go. So this is the 1.5 by 4 1/16 inch pieces. They're going to go on either side of that center score line. Oh, I don't know why this is making so much noise on me there. Here's one. And just center that in there. Like so. All right. And the other side then. Okay. And this is a great one too for, like, you could do best mom ever or happy Father's Day or whatever. Congratulations graduate, you know, whatever theme you want. That could be on that little centerpiece that comes popping out. And then on one of these, I believe, is where the narrow one goes. And this is not the same paper, but it was very similar, and I kind of like how it's a little different. So I'm going to use this one. I had cut out 2 sets, depending on, like, I have a whole set for two different cards of this. I have a couple of samples I'll show you as well here when we're done. So just one of these. This will be probably the front that I'm putting it on. You can make either one of them the front, depending, because they're mirror images on either side of the center. Alrighty. Now what we need to do is cut a slit right here. And that is going to allow our center tag to come up. So what you want to do is, I have this on, this is the back. You could do either way. But you want your tags, kind of use that as your guide for how much room or how long you may need to make that center little slit to be. I'm going to leave a little bit of extra room because I don't want it to bind, but we don't want it too much extra so that it's like kind of sloppy either. So I have about a 1/16 of an inch on each side of this. Helps me know how long to make it. And this is the bottom or the inside. Nobody will see these marks. They can be erased also. And then grab a some kind of a sharp, like something that can cut a little score line onto it. And I'm going to be cutting just a little channel out right on that score line. You probably could use your trimmer as well. Whatever you prefer. Is whatever you like to use for cutting, that kind of thing. I should have something down on my surface here. This is my crafty, looks like this is my alcohol ink thing, but this will just protect my work surface from this sharp knife. So basically what I'm going to do is cut the actual score line. You see this score line here? I'm going to kind of cut that away. I don't want it too big, but enough so that that tag can come and go up and down in this little slot. So I am cutting on the one side of the score, and then I'm going to cut on the other side of the score. Okay, now I just kind of want to get that little piece out. So I'm cutting this direction right on those little marks. Let's see if I have to do a little more. I probably do. So just keep kind of cutting until it's kind of free. And try to keep it as neat as you can. You don't want it to be too sloppy. Okay, let's see. We're almost done with that. You can do it. Come on. Come on out of there, paper. Okay, almost. Go ahead and get all that out of there. Probably the trimmer would be better, I think. I should have tried it. And my blade probably needs to be replaced because it's not going as quick and easy as I wanted it to do. Oh, doesn't even look good on this side. Oh my. So I'm just going to neaten this up a little bit. Try to make it a little bit neater of a slot, which I'm not real happy with that. So lesson learned on this one is cut it on the side you can see, because now I think my back side, that looks pretty good, but this side is not as good. I will work on this too afterwards. I'll take a little more time and just tidy up that little slot that I made there. All right, so next we can, if you have any little flyaway pieces on there like this, kind of little, I don't know, just little pieces that are hanging on, you can just use like a sander. This is an emery board or whatever you have to kind of get those off and make it look a little neater. Get that nice and tidy. This is not a real sharp one, or I mean, sharp. It's not, you know, a heavy sander, so it's not going to hurt anything. Just going light. I think that'll be better. Yeah, that's better. All right. Okay, next thing we're going to do is kind of put together this mechanism part, and we're going to adhere it together. So this is going to eventually come popping out of here, right? And you just want to make sure, yep, that looks good. One thing you want to keep in mind is when this is folded together, you don't want it to be longer than 5.5. So that is one thing I will be measuring. So here are these bottom two panels here. That is where we're going to adhere this tag. It's going to go right here behind one. Actually, it's going to go on top of one and behind, so that it's sandwiched in between these layers, like so. Okay, and that's kind of how it'll look on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. So what we want to do is just go ahead and I'm going to put some adhesive on the actual tag. I just want to make sure it's centered this way. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put some right here. And this is probably the most critical one because you just want it to be straight and, you know, pretty close to the bottom. It doesn't have to go all the way, but pretty close. And then this is where you want to kind of measure and make sure that it's not longer than 5.5. So I have my ruler on the side here. I'm just going to make sure that this is not going to be longer than 5.5. And I think it'll be okay. Yep, it's a hair under. And then when you consider this little knot here, that kind of thing, it'll be able to go backward in your envelope, but still you don't want it to be too close to the edge. So I am going to go ahead and pull this pretty much down to the bottom because I've measured it to make sure it's in the right spot. And I'm centering it, getting it as straight as I can. And then I'm going to keep this edge folded and I'm going to just put that into place. Like that. Press her down good. Okay, and then you can see how it is on the inside. Then we're going to glue this one down right here. And this time I'm going to glue all the way across. Make sure I'm doing this right here. Yeah. This time I'm going to glue it all the way across this bottom portion. And then you just kind of press this down, keeping it nice and flat, and it'll go right into place. And give it a good press. And voila. Oh, and I put it on backwards. This is my front. I should have had my, yeah. Okay. Like, see? Oh, cool. Isn't that fun? And then when you want to send it, you just fold it up. That is cool. So on one side, it shows nothing. On the other side, it shows my faith over fear. So this can be my front. And then what I'm going to do, what can you do? I could put the same paper that I had here on this side. Another thing you could do would be to put the ribbon on there, like this. You could put that across, and that does tie in with this. I don't know which one I like better. I think I'm going to use my designer series paper, because I thought I had another one cut. All right, yes. So I will use this one on this one, and then now this is the front. You can have it either way. It's decorative on either side. All right, adhesive. Okay, got to get this project done. Okay. All right, right into place. Okay, now we can just add our decorations or our flowers, that kind of thing. I did want this to go on the front, like so. So I'm going to adhere that there, and I could use dimensionals too, but I don't think I need it. Whichever way, if you have dimensionals and you like them, that would look nice too, I'm sure. Get this edge a little better. So we can either have it this way or this way. Whatever floats your boat. Just so it's in the center like that. And then we can see what else we want to put for decorations on here. We could do something like this. We could put another one of the flowers that we cut out. If I can grab it here. I think this will look nice with our little leaf on there. So we can put this like so and decide where we want it. We could kind of do it on like that. That would work. We could have it up a little higher. So many options. Whatever you like. I'm going to put it in, maybe I'll do this on dimensionals, because I have to have dimensionals apparently on every project. Let's put a couple of these there, just like a double-sided foam adhesive, and they just make your project pop up a little bit, or your element. And so there. And we'll pull those off. You just want to make sure. Now, one thing is, as I'm doing this, I was thinking that might not be wise, because that might be a little bit, it works. I guess it goes through okay. Just want to test it. Make sure it'll go through your slot, because that would be bad if it didn't. And then let's put this on there. Put a little glue on it. I'm not going to use a dimensional on that one. Oh, come on, adhesive, you can do it. Towards the end of it. So let's go about right like that. Okay. And then we can also put, we can decide where this should go. Or if you think that's too much, which I don't think it needs it. I think the back might be better for it. So that's what I'll do. But there's still plenty of room to write, right? Just adds a little decorative element to that back side. All right, and I think that's enough on there. And then I want to put the adhesive, some of these on there. I'm just going to use the more bluish tone here on there. So I want to put a few of them on. They're all the same size. I'm going to put at least one here in the center of our flower. Or not the center, apparently. Come on. There we go. There's that center, and then I want to put, let's see, well, let's put a little bit up here, just kind of to draw the eye there. And we need a little down here too, like so, I guess. So I just put those 3 on. There's no rhyme or reason, just wherever you like. We could do a little wink of Stella if you want to add a little bling. But that is our box. What was it called again? Box something. Yeah, I can never remember this name. Box stand card. Okay, so this one would be put in the mail. If you're not sure, you know, it'd probably be better not to use a dimensional there. It does work though. It'll still work. Okay, into the envelope. I can show you that it fits. I had the envelope here. All right, where'd you go, envelope? And I would probably use some of the designer series paper and decorate the flap of the envelope. Okay. Okay, well this is this is not the one, but this is an envelope. And just to show you that it would fit in here, okay? Decorate the flap, put this on the inside, you're good to go. And some other, I had shown you the original, and another 2 of them that I made. I used the same paper pack for this one, and this is a different stamp set that has may the dreams you hold dearest come true, and the kindness that you share come back to you. And then these have some more of that brighter blue kind of a bling on them, and this fun wavy paper. And I just did that on a couple places, not as much DSP on this one. I used some of that new ribbon we have, and I love this background one. And I just ended up stamping this sentiment onto vellum and putting it onto a white piece, and we have die cuts that cut out this shape. I just use the same size to cut both. And then you have this blue, which I thought that could go for a guy too, right? And I didn't put anything on the back. You should for if you want to write a message. And this folds up like this. And then the other one, this one is my mistake one that I was making. So this was my original one that I thought would look so nice with this. This is a different tag that we have right now, and I just thought it would be pretty, and you can adjust the width, so I tried that. And you can see I used this leaf kind of a die that put some stitched leaves on there. But what I've realized after I was done is that I went to fold it up, and oh boy, I'm mangling it. Why isn't it going? Oh goodness. I realized when you straighten it up, it doesn't fold flat right. It like was buckling in here, and it just was not, I mean, I'm surprised it's folded right now because it wouldn't do that earlier. And it's like hidden, so you could probably get by with it, but I just didn't really think that it worked as well. It should have been a little longer. And so faith over fear. And this one has these little hearts on there. I thought that was cute. All right, guys, this was plenty long. So here are our samples. I'll try to put those here by each other. Okay, there we go. here is our project for tonight. I'm kind of trying to tilt it up so you can see it better for your samples. It's not the best. I'll be putting some other photos up anyways in a little while, probably tomorrow, I guess. All right. There we go. Oh, so thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Hope that you took something away that you appreciated and maybe some inspiration. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great night, day, whenever you're watching this. Feel free to like, share, all that good stuff. I appreciate that. And